Once we reach adulthood, a trip to the barber or hair salon usually goes like clockwork. First, you sit in the chair, discussing how you'd like your hair to look with a stylist. Then, your locks are shampooed and conditioned before being clipped, dried and styled, hopefully to perfection, or at least to your satisfaction. A man went for haircut, but the way his neck bent during his hair wash gave him stroke. For Dave Tyler, what seemed like a normal trip to a hair salon called Headmasters in Brighton, UK, likely happened in much the same way. After all, he was a regular there, and he had walked out from his March 2011 appointment feeling as though nothing was amiss. And yet, 3 days after his time at Headmasters, Tyler collapsed, suddenly and without warning. As a result, he was rushed to the emergency room, unsure of why his health had deteriorated so quickly. Then, a consultant at the hospital asked him a fateful question: "Have you had your hair cut recently?" Before that point, the father of 2 girls had led a normal life in the southern British town of Hove. He often took strolls through the English countryside and spent days out on the water sailing with his family. He also had quite the successful career as a sound engineer. Indeed, Tyler's job allowed him to work alongside such world-renowned artists as Radiohead, Blur, and Bjork. And on the day he collapsed in 2011, he was actually traveling to a meeting in London. At the time, he had a massive headache, as he went on to tell the Mirror in December 2016. He soldiered on, even though he felt as if he was coming down with something. Tyler was none the wiser as to what could have been causing the headache, though. And as he walked into the meeting, it rapidly became very clear that this was no ordinary head pain. Suddenly, Tyler then lost all sensation in the right-hand side of his body. "Staff in the building had to support me," he recalled to the Mirror. His condition quickly deteriorated further, and soon he could neither see nor walk. Needless to say, the entire ordeal was very frightening for him. And as he was rushed to the ER, Tyler's nightmare continued to unfold. There, a doctor delivered some life-changing news: Tyler had suffered a stroke. The sound engineer recalled his surprise at the diagnosis while speaking to the Mirror. "I associated strokes with older people," he said. But it wasn't until Tyler was transferred to London's National Hospital for Neurology and Neurosurgery that doctors pinpointed the probable reason why he had suffered a stroke. That's when a consultant asked him if he had had a haircut recently. And Tyler came to realize that his hair appointment may have caused all the subsequent trauma he had suffered. It took a specialist like the one at the London hospital to diagnose Tyler with what's known as beauty parlor syndrome. Beauty parlor syndrome is so called because it describes a rare reaction to common hairstyling practices. More specifically, strokes are thought to stem from the way that stylists shampoo clients' hair. In extreme cases, a person's neck can bend too far back during the hair washing stage of an appointment. This can overextend and tear an artery in the neck and can lead to a clot or blockage, reduced blood flow to the brain, and, eventually, to a stroke. And while beauty parlor syndrome is a rare diagnosis, Tyler's is not an isolated case. It does, however, mostly affect older clients. A 1993 report in the Journal of the American Medical Association, for example, shed light on 5 separate cases of beauty parlor syndrome that had occurred in elderly adults. Meanwhile, a 2006 case study in medical journal Cerebrovascular Diseases revealed that a 63-year-old woman had suffered an arterial tear near her spine during a hairdressing appointment. And in 2013, a Californian woman also alleged that her artery was torn while her hair was being washed. She claimed that this had then led to a stroke. Perhaps the most frightening aspect of the story, though, is that Tyler didn't realize anything out of the ordinary was happening while he was having his hair washed. "At the time, I didn't feel anything different," he told the Mirror. "I remember the girl who was washing my hair asked if I was comfortable, but as anybody who has had their hair washed at the salon knows, it's never a comfortable position." The likelihood of suffering from beauty parlor syndrome may be decreased if salons use sinks fitted with cushions. During Tyler's appointment, though, only a thin layered towel was put under his neck. And every other time he'd visited that salon, Headmasters staff had done the same. It seems, then, that a well-cushioned sink could have made the difference between Tyler's life today and how it was before he suffered the stroke. And although he survived his ordeal, he was in the hospital for 3 months during his recovery as well as 6 more months recuperating at home. His health has also greatly deteriorated as a result. For instance, Tyler now suffers from blurred, wobbly vision, which prevents him from driving. His balance is also off-kilter, so he walks with a stick. Furthermore, his body temperature flares up from time to time, and he additionally suffers from unexpected aches and pains. The chances of these symptoms going away are not good either, according to Tyler himself. "How I am is how I will be from now on," he told the Mirror in 2016. And, naturally, Tyler's diagnosis has not only affected him, but also his loved ones. The long strolls his family once enjoyed with him are much more difficult now, for one. "My younger daughter recently got quite upset because I can no longer go for walks on ground that isn't really flat," he has explained. "I generally try to get on with my life, but it has had a big impact." Because of this impact, Tyler decided to take a stand against a hair salon he held responsible. Specifically, he embarked on a product liability case against Headmasters, in which he argued that his stylist had not provided him with enough neck support during his shampooing session. He and the company settled out of court in 2016, with Tyler taking home approximately $122,000. Now with the lawsuit behind him, Tyler hopes that salons will allow clients to have their hair washed facing forward. Furthermore, he believes that even trainee stylists should know about this worst-case scenario situation. He added in his interview with the Mirror, "Washing hair is the sort of thing people quite junior in the industry do, so they need to be aware of the risks." At the very least, his high-profile case ought to alert customers and stylists alike to beauty parlor syndrome. And, according to Tyler, that was the whole point of his lawsuit. It wasn't about the money with the legal action, he revealed. It was about preventing the same thing happening to someone else. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.